The powers of belief and believing in God. Is religion really a belief system? Even with the advent of verifiable scientific methodology of investigation, belief language still characterizes how we humans conduct our relationships. In this wonderful apocalypse of religion information unveiling age, it is necessary to truly understand, to have full knowledge of the word belief that has shaped our human stories from inquiries about our beginnings to how we should relate to one another, as being critically shaped by belief. So, what are beliefs' characteristics? Is belief an idea synonymous with and applicable to trust, love, faith in, or knowledge of God and fellow human? Beliefs are characterized as true or false in virtue of the truth or falsity of the propositions that are believed. People can believe propositions with varying degrees of conviction, but believing in something does not make it so, no matter how hard you believe. Belief and truth are not synonymous. Belief is an idea one accepts as being true or real, a dependency and reliance mentality that may not be reality. Like many children having a strong belief that Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy really does exist. The noun belief replaced the Old English word jalifa, meaning belief, faith, in the late 12th century. A belief is an idea one usually holds with conviction and importance that is not really truth. Belief is synonymous in the Bible with trust. The Greek word for believe means to entrust, or commit to, put in trust with. The word belief first came into English in the late 12th century. It came into English as believe, meaning confidence reposed in a person or thing, faith in a religion. It took over Old English jalifa, meaning belief, faith. The word goes all the way back to a PI root asterisk lub, meaning to care, desire, love. Most people define beliefs as inward convictions, a feeling of certainty about what something means. They are what you hold dear and are rooted deeply within. A belief is both mental and emotional. It is embedded in the mind and in the heart. Your beliefs will dictate your action. 2 Corinthians 5 verse 7. For we live by faith, not by sight. Hebrews 11 verse 6, and without faith it is impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to Him must believe that He exists, and that He rewards those who earnestly seek Him. What is the difference between faith and belief? While the terms faith and belief are often used interchangeably, they have distinct meanings. Belief generally refers to an intellectual acceptance of something as true, while faith involves a deeper level of trust and reliance, often in something without definitive proof. Faith can also lead to action and commitment, whereas belief may not. There are various ways to categorize beliefs, but one common approach identifies 4 levels of beliefs: core beliefs, intermediate beliefs, cognitive distortions, and automatic thoughts. These levels, often discussed in the context of cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, are part of the cognitive model of psychotherapy. Here's a more detailed look at these levels. Core beliefs. These are deeply ingrained, fundamental beliefs about yourself, others, and the world. They are often formed early in life and can be difficult to change. They tend to form the basis for faith, another word for strong, uncompromising emotional attachment to a belief. Evidence unseen. Intermediate beliefs. These are more specific beliefs that are based on core beliefs. They are often less ingrained than core beliefs and can be influenced by life experiences and circumstances. Example, I now attend a cooperative Baptist church because there are no Anglican churches around where we moved to. Cognitive distortions. These are inaccurate or irrational ways of thinking that can lead to negative emotions and behaviors. They are often a result of intermediate beliefs. Encounters with other believers or non-believers, acts or statements of other belief systems that contradict or conflict with our core notions, beliefs. Automatic thoughts. These are the thoughts that run through your head in the moment. They are often influenced by cognitive distortions and intermediate beliefs. Believing is the act of accepting something as true or real, often without needing absolute proof. It's a subjective attitude, a mental state where you hold something as a fact or conviction, and this can be influenced by faith, personal experiences, or other factors. Elaboration. Accepting as true. Believing involves mentally accepting something as true, even if you don't have complete evidence to support it. Subjective. Belief is a personal and subjective experience. What one person believes may not be what another person believes. Faith versus belief. While belief can be based on evidence, faith often involves accepting something as true even without concrete proof. This goes both ways. Not all beliefs are based on evidence. Influence of experience. Personal experiences, cultural norms, and societal pressures can all influence our beliefs. Belief as an attitude. Philosophers often view belief as a propositional attitude, meaning a stance or opinion about a specific proposition or statement. Belief as a source of action. Our beliefs often drive our actions and choices. Belief in God can be connected to emotional and mental exercises, even actions without direct evidence. While some religious believers may claim their faith is based on evidence, others view it as a belief despite a lack of it, focusing on the feeling and personal experience of faith rather than solely on objective proof. This can include emotional experiences, intuitive feelings, or a sense of connection that encourages belief. Here's a more detailed look. Intuitive and emotional connection. Many people arrive at religious beliefs through intuitive feelings rather than through logical analysis. This can involve experiences like inspiration or a sense of awe that can deepen belief. Belief as a mental exercise. Belief can be seen as a way to engage with the world and make sense of it, even if it's not grounded in empirical evidence. It can involve intellectual contemplation and reflection, even if the core belief is not directly provable. Emotional comfort and meaning. Religious beliefs can provide comfort and a sense of meaning in life, potentially helping individuals cope with anxiety, grief, and other difficult emotions. The will to believe. Some argue that people may choose to believe in God because they find it personally beneficial, even if they are not fully convinced by the evidence. This will to believe can be a conscious decision to embrace faith, regardless of the lack of proof. Faith as a response to the unknown. Faith can be a way of acknowledging the limits of human knowledge and embracing the possibility of a higher power or a deeper meaning beyond our understanding. Belief and experience. Belief empowers people by giving them unshakable resolve. Belief is what animates the ability to respond to any situation with extraordinary toughness, tenacity, and determination. Because they believe, elite performers maintain an unwavering focus on what needs to be done in response to adversity. Where do beliefs come from? Beliefs are shaped by a combination of factors, including early childhood experiences, social influences, and individual interpretation of events. These influences help form a belief system that shapes perceptions, values, and behaviors. Here's a more detailed look at the sources of beliefs. 1. Early childhood and authority figures. Parental influence. Children are naturally inclined to believe their parents, who are often their primary source of information and authority. Cultural and social norms. Beliefs are often passed down through generations and within communities, influencing how individuals perceive the world. Brain's tendency to believe. Brains are wired to readily accept information from trusted sources, making it easier to adopt beliefs presented by authority figures. 2. Individual experiences and interpretation. Personal experiences, direct experiences, both positive and negative, can shape beliefs and values. Subjective promptings, personal emotions and interpretations can influence how individuals perceive and understand events. Visualization, imagining outcomes can also influence beliefs. 3. Social and historical context. Cultural and social environments. The beliefs of a particular culture or society can influence how individuals interpret events and form beliefs. Historical narratives. Historical events and perspectives can shape beliefs about the world. 4. Cognitive processes. Patternicity. The brain's tendency to perceive patterns even in random phenomena can lead to the formation of beliefs. Agenticity. The brain's inclination to attribute intentional action to natural events can also contribute to belief formation. 5. Belief as a product of fundamental brain processes. Neuropsychic attribution. Beliefs are the product of fundamental brain processes that assign meaning to concrete objects and events. Goal setting and decision making. Beliefs enable individuals to set goals, make decisions, and navigate their environment. 6. Beliefs as a response to uncertainty. Meaning making. Beliefs can provide a sense of meaning and purpose in the face of uncertainty. Cognitive stability. Beliefs help maintain a stable and familiar approach to processing information. What then are negative core beliefs? Negative core beliefs are deeply ingrained, often unconscious assumptions individuals hold about themselves, others, or the world that negatively impact their thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. They are formed through experiences and can lead to various difficulties, including poor self-esteem, anxiety, and relationship problems. Examples of negative core beliefs. About oneself. I am a failure. I am not worthy of love. I am unlovable. I am bad. I am not good enough. I am a burden. I am worthless. I am inadequate. I am a fraud. About others. People will hurt me. People are untrustworthy. People are malicious. People cannot be trusted. I have to be perfect to be loved. About the world. The world is dangerous. The world is unfair. The world is scary. How negative core beliefs affect individuals. Poor self-esteem. These beliefs often lead to feelings of inadequacy and worthlessness, impacting self-confidence and self-worth. Negative emotions. They can trigger sadness, anxiety, anger, shame, and other negative emotions. Relationship issues. Negative beliefs about others can create difficulties in forming and maintaining healthy relationships. Self-sabotage. They can fuel insecurities and lead individuals to make choices that undermine their own well-being. Difficulty in challenging negative thoughts. Once established, these beliefs can be difficult to challenge, as individuals tend to focus on evidence that supports them and ignore evidence to the contrary. Addressing negative core beliefs. Identify and challenge. Recognizing and questioning these beliefs is the first step toward change. Seek professional help. Therapists can provide guidance and support in identifying and modifying negative core beliefs. Replace with positive beliefs. Working to replace negative core beliefs with more realistic and positive ones can be an important part of the process. How powerful are our beliefs? Belief is a powerful thing, and it's one of the keys to self-improvement. If you believe that you can change, you're more likely to succeed. On the other hand, if you believe that you're stuck in your ways, you'll struggle to make progress. Is it possible to know God, have an intimate divine relationship with God beyond belief and belief systems, sentimental doctrines, and dogmas invoking lifestyle? If believe or belief was the key word to living well, living a holistic, heavenly, beautiful, saved, restored, harmonious life with God and neighbor, fellow man human, then that miracle or magic word has lost its divine power. Is it not proper to think that by now, given 2,000 years after Jesus Yeshua the Christ heavenly leadership and guidance, shouldn't we be living more heavenly in love with each other than what we now see that has emerged from believers as the result of belief-only educational systems? The fact of life is that belief systems only customs, traditions, rituals, dogmas have failed to unite us as humanity, even in certain instances, like the Talmud-adhering Jew who is taught to believe other fellow humans are not humans, but goyim slaves beneath animals. No doubt anyone conforming to such mental reasoning, such a belief that fails to recognize fellow humans as humans, is no doubt humanity's #1 problem. Bad, bogus, blind, blasphemous, sentimentally driven, non-scientific, without empirical evidence beliefs that drive people as a nation, a religious or spiritual groups, political parties, cultures, and organized entities deeper into divisive division of the human family. The corruption and co-option of love for God and love of God in the name of this inappropriate word or language we call belief that is strongly utilized by zealous Judeo-Christian and Zionist belief-only sentimental systems has hampered the divinity of our shared identity as universal siblings to flourish as true divine sons and daughters of love, God. Belief sentimental systems bar us from sharing together amicably as peaceful, universal, loving, global family members or citizens of one Earth, one solar system, one galaxy, one universe, one existence we know as life right now. Instead of religion leading us in the divine ways, another word for transcendental togetherness, divine way of oneness, togetherness in God and goodness. Instead, and very unfortunately, religious beliefs stifle growth in form of no more questioning, no more objective God research of investigation, and so it has produced more doubts rather than resolve the God lingering question. Belief systems have created holy doubters. Another dark age is upon humankind even after 2,000 years of messianic scientific sages, friends of humanity, like Jesus, Yeshua the Christ, enlightened us, shone the light for us all to also turn on together, and so shine together beyond just believing. Unfortunately, majority still subscribe to the only I am God, the jealous and envious biblical God Yahweh narrative that brews hate has created a doubt, suspicious and fear-driven belief systems atmosphere that clouds the pathways to the main truth about our collective existence as one human race, one human family in love. The hijacking of true religion by zealous believers stifles our divine growth to be fully enlightened, to know God as life, to have knowledge about life, to participate solely in what brings us closer to a brighter, better informed, beautiful, harmonic relationship with creation, all of life, our total existence as a whole, not in part. This is what is possible when we seek and not just believe. Therefore, the apocalypse of religion allows us to roam freely, to enter the deep expanse that knows no bounds of creative goodness, since words must be used, as they will and must in this state of seeking to truly begin our divine ascent up Calvary. Toward silence, to crucify the old beliefs we've carried as a mindless crutch with the stern shoulders of belief without the happy hands of the heart. Many believers exhibit the unhappy aura of contempt. By not acknowledging first our collective divine nature, we will always have an uphill climb. Rather, when we unveil back to the beginning, from whence we came, we shall see clearly the nurturing essence of our root nature as divine vines in togetherness that transcends any distractions from our divine intimacy, our collectively shared access and destiny as images and likenesses of God created very good. All connections or reconnections must begin with the knowledge of true self. When you see me, you see God, because we are created from a very good root to be good like our Creator, who created us very good to be more good. Namaste.
Certainly. Namaste, beloved brothers and sisters. And that's part one of the upcoming book. We say part one in light of we're going to have many parts. This is 8 pages of the first episode of the book we are calling Declassifying God, born good, born to love, created good, born to love. So we've just listened to the first 8 pages that sets off from the point of questioning belief, our belief. Why do we believe? Do we understand that word belief? And how it's now obvious and very clear that belief has not led us into that wonderful place we call, or atmosphere, environment we can call the kingdom of God, kingdom of God. The book of Revelations at the end tells us that God wipes all the tears from all eyes, all people are connected. So belief systems, unfortunately, as they still are, we are still on that bridge, and the bridge is getting a little bit crowded, and we need to get up the bridge of belief, which is religiosity, and we need to cross over and to make God very plain and accessible to one another. This is why it is called love, to make God life intimately accessible to everyone. Where you, I, wherever you are, you have this sense of direct dominion, but direct stewardship, responsibility, another word for freedom, from just the mental exercise of outsourcing your freedom, your responsibility, what you've been designed with capacity and capability, that is most times retracted from our reasoning faculties because of religion. We are taught about a narrow path that is not so clear what that path is. We are more driven into a box than through. So the bridge, religion, belief now becomes a box instead of a bridge that takes us across to discover fully the truth that we are men and women who are created to know. We came into being through knowledge, as the Bible would stress. A man knows his wife. When Adam knew his wife, an intimate knowledge, intimacy, and this time heart, mind, soul, and body, spirit, the merging. So we know we fight not against flesh and blood in that sense, but it's the spirit that belief, unfortunately, seems to just want to contain and not allow to break through. So belief tends to expel knowledge, like, no, I just believe, and we tend to box God in our wonderful scriptures. Yeah, all believers have amazing, mysterious texts that is used, and we know the Bible, much as it is a wonderful, say, the good book, which it is, because within it contains, again, man's struggle, man's desires, our fallen nature, our awakened, glorified nature, as in Yehoshua and other saints within its pages and prophets. And then it contains also man's unfortunate hubris and desire to be the only one, to be the chosen one, to have some designation, to be king, the only king, and to be those designations that are really spurred on say negative, false belief, because then you have the opposite end of those persons who are claiming to be all of that in God. You have the other persons who are claiming, I'm no good, I cannot be holy. They believe what has been shared with them, interpreted to them from the scriptures as no one can be, while in the same scriptures they say, yes we can be holy. Another person is saying to them authoritatively, no you can. So you see the belief system language definitely not good. So thank you for being part of this first 8 chapters. We have 7 more episodes to go before Sunday. I'm so glad we'll be doing this together. I love you again. Thank you for joining the Conscious Souls Network session. For this wonderful week, triumphant week that expresses the narrative of how we should move way beyond belief and get into true knowledge that we sought to expel from the scriptures. And we must unveil why knowledge is important. It is the most important path, that narrow path. Veils culture. We all live in the light, no more in the darkness of false, bad, bogus, blasphemous belief system. Namaste, family. Welcome to Conscious Souls Network. Share the word, like this video, help us to promote and unveil more of these divine truths.